We did it, so you don't have to. We bought an entire video lighting kit on AliExpress. What's inside these boxes? Is it functional? That's what we're about to find out.
So here's the disturbing truth. If you don't know the basics of lighting, it doesn't matter how awesome your church's camera is or what gear you have, that testimony video, that church podcast, that announcement promo, that talking headshot with your pastor is still gonna look amateur. What's also true is that buying video lights for your church usually comes after buying the camera, the lens, the microphone, etc. So the leftover budget, if it exists at all, is gonna be pretty small. So, to prove to you that this can be done affordably, we bought a full lighting kit on AliExpress. We bought 300-watt LED lights for $51.60 each, and we bought a 120-centimeter octagon softbox for $59.01. Although, when I checked the cost this morning of the softbox, the price was even cheaper. AliExpress pricing does tend to fluctuate. Altogether, we paid $213.81 USD. We're now going to use these new lights to create a series of different cinematic lighting setups, and we'll then recreate each of those setups with our expensive video lights that cost 20 times more to see if we can spot any differences. What we're also going to do is give one of your churches all of this new lighting gear that we bought for free. That's 3 lights plus the softbox. All you have to do to win this lighting kit is click the link in the description below and subscribe to our newsletter, The 167. I publish a new issue every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. This newsletter is all about helping your church navigate the 167 hours beyond Sunday service every single week. We're going to be announcing the winner of this giveaway next Thursday in the newsletter. You can read past issues and subscribe so you're eligible to win at the link below or at 167.prochurchtools.com. And if you're watching this after the giveaway is over, we do these from time to time, so make sure you're subscribed going forward.
Our first setup is gonna use one light only. So here it is, our AliExpress 300-watt light. If all you had was 50 bucks, you could buy this light, and we've done so many great setups using just one light. Here's how to do it. We've chosen this large open space in our office to set up our shot, and this is the frame we've settled on. Right now, what you're seeing is what the room looks like with no video lights set up at all. Of course, there is existing light coming from the wall of windows on one side of the room, and when you're lighting a room with existing light, there's one very important question to ask yourself. Where is the motivating light coming from? So the motivating light in this room is coming from this giant wall of windows on one side. And so it's important when I'm setting up the key video light that it's set up to send light on the same direction. Because if I was on the other side and I shot light coming at Roxanne this way, it would look strange and unnatural because we'd be lighting one side of her face when all the other natural light in the room is coming from the other side. And when we're crafting these cinematic frames, we want them to appear as natural as possible. So we position our video light in the same direction as the motivating light in the scene, but we have a problem right away. The video light is harsh because the source is very small, and this is a principle of lighting that you'll want to commit to memory. The smaller the source, the harsher the light. The bigger the source, the softer the light. So to fix our issue here, we're gonna pop on our softbox that we bought for $59.01, and you can immediately see how much better our setup looks. Now, we bought the biggest softbox that we could from AliExpress. If you buy the smaller version, it'll cost you less than $30. Alternatively, you could get a white shower curtain, but when I priced those out on Amazon, the cost was comparable to the softbox. At that point, you may as well get the dedicated video solution, and you'll also need one less stand that way. So I'm happy with our one light only setup here. What we're now gonna do is swap out our cheap light for our expensive light and show you the difference. Here we're using the Aputure 600X. This is a $2,000 light, so 20 times more expensive than the AliExpress light. We've got an Aputure light dome on there for another $200, 4 times more expensive than the AliExpress softbox. And here's the difference between the two frames. Not bad at all for a $50 light. So we've got our second light here, another 300-watt AliExpress light. And when I look at our frame, what I want to do now is begin to create some separation between our subject and the background. The way we're going to accomplish this is by positioning our second light behind our subject and point the light at them. We would call this a backlight or rim light or hair light, depending on how much light we're sending and where we're pointing it. But it's all to create the same effect, to separate the subject from the background. Now, this light does not need to be as soft as our key light, light number 1. In fact, for creating that layer of visual separation, a light that's a bit more harsh can be better. So we won't be using any diffusion here. We also didn't buy any more diffusion, so this is what we've got. Now, here's the before and after, the difference between the one light setup on the left and the 2 light setup on the right. And just pay attention to that backlight and how much additional depth it's adding to our frame. Now we'll swap out cheap lights for our expensive lights.
We're using an Aputure Amaran 300C here, which is actually still considered a budget light in its own respect, but coming in at $569, that's still 10 times more expensive than our AliExpress light. And here's the difference between the two frames, our cheap lighting on the left and our expensive lighting on the right.
So we've got our final light to place now. Typically, we would use this as a fill light to fill in some of the darkness on the side of our subject's face that is opposite to our key light, video number 1. But I actually kind of like a stronger contrast ratio when framing up cinematic setups. And so what I want to do instead is show you more of an advanced lighting technique that we can still accomplish on a budget.
We're gonna take our third video light here and attach a modifier. This is a spotlight, and we did buy one from AliExpress, but I actually selected the wrong option on the purchase page, so I only got half of what I needed. The cost of this spotlight on AliExpress is $77.70. You want the option that says with 19-degree lens, not the option that just says 19-degree lens. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we're gonna use the more expensive Aputure Amaran spotlight that we already own, but just know, this can be done on a budget like everything else. We just didn't have time to reorder the piece for this video once we unboxed it on camera and realized what was missing. Now we're gonna take this spotlight, attach it to the front of our video light, and we're gonna insert into the spotlight what's called a gobo. And a gobo is a small stenciled circular disc that changes the shape of the light. And my favorite way to use gobos right now is to create the appearance of sunbeams. Again, we'll position the light on the same side as the motivated light coming from the windows, because it would make no sense for light beams to come from the other side of the room. And there are so many different gobos that come with your spotlight, so feel free to try out different discs to see what you like. Once we've finished our setup, here's the before and after. 2 lights on the left, 3 lights on the right. I am a real sucker for this final additional light. I think it can really elevate the look of a shot. In terms of the expensive option versus the cheap option, our final cheap setup is on the left for a total cost of $291.51 compared to our expensive option on the right. And we used an Aputure 600D for our modified light, bringing the total cost to more than $5,000.
Now, we didn't talk about stands for our video lights. That, of course, can be an additional cost. Perhaps with mic stands lying around your church, you can use what you have, weigh those down so they don't tip, and save any extra expense. If you do want to invest in some lighting stands that are affordable, what you want are C-stands. And you can find well-reviewed C-stands on Amazon for about $100 each. Meaning, if you got one 300-watt AliExpress light, plus the C-stand on Amazon, plus the softbox, you could have an awesome one-light setup, everything you need for under $200. Now, in terms of performance and quality, how did these cheap lights hold up to our pro gear? Well, in terms of quality of light, the color accuracy was a bit different. The AliExpress lights were listed at 5600 Kelvin, closer to 6500 Kelvin. They weren't as strong, nor was the build quality quite as good. There are, of course, questions of reliability. How might these last for the long term? But that was all to be expected when you consider their price. In terms of our ability to create a near identical light setup, they cleared every hurdle. You'd have no idea looking at these two frames that one cost $5,000 where the other was less than $300, which is frankly amazing, which is why I'm even happier to give these lights away to one of your churches. Remember to subscribe to the 167 newsletter linked in the description. We'll be announcing the winner next week on Thursday in the issue of the newsletter. And if you watched this video and thought, you know, this is all nice and good, but what if all I have is my phone and not some fancy camera? Stay tuned for next week. Subscribe and turn on notifications.
Wait, how does it start?
Right.
And we crank it to 100!